Our gospel text of today is taken from the Gospel of Mark chapter 11, verses 27 to 33. Jesus has just cleared the temple of sham worship and proclaimed through that action that worship is not performed merely externally, but worship is professed and performed from the heart. And as he's walking in the temple, the religious authorities are upset because trade has been disrupted and possibly their commission has been now lessened. Those who were buying and selling had been moved away from the temple precincts. And so they approached Jesus and asked him about his authority. They asked him about his authority in order to trap him. And because Jesus is aware of this trap, he responds not with an answer, but with a question which actually, as we will see, is an answer. And the question of Jesus to them is, when they ask him about his authority, you tell me, where did the authority of John the Baptist come from? And he even gives them a choice. Did it come from heaven or did it come from human beings? And so they begin to discuss it among themselves. And in their reasoning, in the dialogue that they have among themselves, they say, we cannot answer that the baptism of John the Baptist came from heaven, because if we say it did come from heaven, he will ask us, then why did you not believe in him? And we will be caught. However, we cannot say that the baptism of John the Baptist came from human beings from earth, because the people hold John to be a prophet and we are frightened of them. We are frightened of the reaction of the people if we say that John the Baptist was not a prophet and his baptism was from earth. We do not want to face the wrath. So in a way, it shows that the religious leaders are not thinking about the temple. They are thinking about their own safety. They are thinking about themselves. They are thinking about their security. And because for them, God takes second place and the self takes first place, they respond to Jesus by saying, we do not know. In other words, what they are saying is, we do not want to answer. We are afraid to answer. We will be caught if we answer one way or the other. And Jesus responds with what seems to be not an answer, but actually is an answer, when he says, if you don't tell me that, then neither will I tell you by what authority I am doing these things. What is the answer which Jesus gives? By asking about the baptism of John, Jesus points back to his own baptism. His baptism was done by John the Baptist, because in Mark chapter 1, verses 9 to 11, we are told very clearly, Jesus came from Nazareth in Galilee and was baptized by John in the Jordan. So very clearly, John the Baptist baptized Jesus, and at his baptism, Jesus saw three things which happened. First, the heavens opened. God begins to recommunicate with human beings. That is the meaning of the heavens opening. The Holy Spirit comes down on Jesus as a dove, a confirmation of God's presence through his Spirit. And the voice from heaven issues this invitation where Jesus will be God's messenger. So in a way, by asking about the baptism of John, Jesus is giving them an answer and saying that his authority came from his baptism, where at his baptism he was made or invited to be God's messenger of God's good news, which is that God is love. How will you, as a disciple of Jesus, as a disciple of the truth, profess that God is love through your actions and your words today.